My dear friends, pause for a moment. Imagine standing on the shores of a vast sea, its waves whispering secrets older than the mountains, secrets that have slept beneath the waters for millennia. What if I told you that those waters, silent for so long, are stirring? That beneath their depths lies not just coral and sand, but echoes of a miracle. A moment when heaven touched earth, when the impossible became real. This is not a tale of fantasy, nor a dream woven from imagination. This is a story of faith, of history, of a discovery that could shake the very foundations of what we believe. Come with me, beloved, into the heart of a mystery that spans centuries. A journey that asks us not only to look, but to listen, to the sea, to scripture, and to the quiet voice of truth. Beneath the waves of the Red Sea, where the sun's light fades into shadow, there lies a story that has waited 3,000 years to be told. Not long ago, in the quiet dawn of 2024, a team of diverse men and women of courage, skill, and faith slipped into the waters near Nuweiba Beach on the Gulf of Aqaba. They were not treasure hunters seeking gold, nor adventurers chasing fleeting fame. They were pilgrims of truth, guided by the ancient words of Exodus, the sacred account of a people delivered, a sea parted, and an army lost to the depths. These divers, among them former Navy SEALs, marine engineers, and scholars of the underwater world, carried with them tools of the modern age. Sonar that pierces the deep, drones that map the unseen, scanners that reveal what time has hidden. Their mission was not merely to explore, but to seek evidence of a moment when God's hand moved the waters, when the impossible became history. Yet their path was not without trial. Governments cautioned against their work, citing laws and diplomacy. Scholars dismissed their quest as folly, but something greater called them forward. A spark of faith, a whisper of possibility, and the courage to ask, what if the story is true? To grasp the magnitude of this journey, we must travel back, not to 2024, but to the edge of time itself, to the moment when a man named Moses stood before a sea that would not yield. The book of Exodus, a cornerstone of our shared faith, tells of a people enslaved, a Pharaoh hardened, and a God who heard the cries of his children. The Lord will fight for you, Moses declared, and you shall hold your peace. Exodus 14 verse 14. And so the waters parted, the Israelites crossed on dry ground, and the chariots of Egypt, in their pride, were consumed by the returning waves. This is no mere story, my friends. It is a pillar of our faith, a testament to liberation, to divine power, to a God who walks with his people through the wilderness. Yet, for centuries, skeptics have questioned, where is the proof? No artifacts, no camps, no relics of pharaohs might have been found in the sands of Sinai. Some have called it myth, others a metaphor. But what if the evidence was never lost, only hidden, waiting patiently beneath the sea? The Gulf of Aqaba, with its underwater land bridge, offers a clue. A path wide and flat, where a multitude might have crossed, where an army might have fallen. Could this be the place where the waters stood as walls, where history and miracle became one? Long before the divers of 2024, there was a man named Ron Wyatt, a humble soul, not trained in the halls of academia, but led by an unyielding faith. In 1978, with little more than a Bible and a heart full of conviction, he dove into the Red Sea, chasing whispers of the Exodus. What he claimed to find stirred both wonder and scorn. Coral-encrusted shapes, chariot wheels, bones of men and horses, remnants of a battle frozen in time. To some, he was a visionary, a modern prophet who dared to believe the scriptures literally. To others, he was a dreamer, seeing patterns where only coral grew. His discoveries were not welcomed by the learned, nor preserved in museums. The coral, fragile and sacred, could not be moved without crumbling. The laws of nations forbade their removal, and yet Wyatt's story endured, passed from heart to heart, from church to study, from generation to generation. His grainy footage, his handwritten notes, his fervent testimony, they lit a fire that refused to fade. Could a man so dismissed by the world have glimpsed a truth too great for his time? Today, as new divers return to his coordinates with tools he could only dream of, we are called to wonder. Was Ron Wyatt mistaken, or was he merely ahead of his time? Beneath the waves, where time and tide weave their silent tapestry, the Red Sea guards its mysteries with a delicate hand. The divers of 2024, armed with the tools of science and the fire of faith, descended into this hidden world and found something extraordinary. Not gold, nor jewels, but shapes that defy the randomness of nature. Circular forms, encrusted in coral, yet bearing the unmistakable geometry of human craft. Wheels, axles, fragments that whispered of chariots long lost. Deeper still, their drones revealed more, skeletal remains, equine and human, locked in a dance of chaos, as if frozen in the moment of divine judgment. A glint of metal, faint but undeniable, caught the light, hinting at bronze, at tools of war preserved by the sea's embrace. These were not scattered relics, my friends, but a tableau, a battlefield suspended in time, oriented as if charging toward destiny, only to be halted by a force greater than any army. The divers spoke in hushed tones, their cameras capturing what words could scarcely convey. A watery tomb, a graveyard of a moment when heaven intervened. Is this the echo of Pharaoh's fall? Is this the proof we have sought for generations? The coral does not speak, but its silence is deafening. When the first images surfaced, grainy at first, then sharp with the clarity of truth, the world took notice. A single photograph, a coral-encrusted wheel, shared in a quiet corner of the internet, sparked a flame that spread like wildfire. From prophecy forums to social media, from hushed church gatherings to global platforms, the images stirred hearts and minds. Back to where Pharaoh fell, one caption read, and within days it was a cry heard around the world.
Millions watched, millions wondered, millions prayed.
Comment sections overflowed with verses from Exodus, with questions, with hope. Yet, with wonder came resistance. As quickly as the footage appeared, it began to vanish. Videos were removed, accounts suspended, entire discussions erased from the digital realm. Some called it coincidence, others censorship. Was it the hand of skepticism, fearing a truth? This discovery, if it is what we believe, is not an isolated moment. It is part of a greater awakening, a renaissance of biblical archaeology that stirs across the globe. From the rugged peaks of Mount Ararat, where whispers of an ancient ark persist, to the windswept plains near Jericho, where walls may have fallen in a single day, we are witnessing a new era of exploration. Technology, once thought to serve only science, now serves faith as well. Drones soar over deserts, mapping paths once trod by prophets. Satellites peer through time, revealing what was hidden. Sonar and AI uncover patterns where once we saw only chaos. These tools, gifts of human ingenuity, are not enemies of belief but partners in uncovering truth. And it is not only scholars who lead this charge, but ordinary souls, believers, dreamers, seekers who dare to ask, what if the scriptures are not merely stories, but history? What if the divide between faith and science is not a chasm, but a bridge? The Red Sea's secrets are but one chapter in this unfolding story, a story that invites us to see the past not as myth, but as memory, not as allegory, but as truth waiting to be rediscovered. My beloved brothers and sisters, we stand now at a crossroads, where the waves of the Red Sea lap against the shores of our understanding. If these coral-encrusted wheels, these fragments of a forgotten army, are indeed the remnants of Pharaoh's fall, what does this mean for us? It is not merely a question of archaeology, but of the heart. For centuries, we have been told that faith and science are adversaries, that to believe is to turn away from reason, and to reason is to forsake belief. Yet here, beneath the waters, we see a different truth. These discoveries, wheels, bones, echoes of a miracle, suggest that the stories we hold sacred may also be the stories of history. They challenge us to ask, what else have we overlooked? Could the plagues that humbled Egypt, the manna that fed a wandering people, the walls that fell at Jericho, be more than poetic images? Could they be moments when the divine broke into the human, when the eternal touched the temporal? This is not a call to blind certainty, but to humble curiosity, to look again at the scriptures, not as relics of a distant past, but as living witnesses to a God who acts, who delivers, who remembers his people. The Red Sea, with its silent treasures, invites us to see that faith and history are not enemies, but companions, walking hand in hand toward the truth. Dear friends, as we stand on the shores of this discovery, let us not rush to judgment, nor cling to doubt, but open our hearts to wonder. The Red Sea has spoken, not in words, but in shapes, in patterns, in whispers of a moment when the waters parted and a people were set free. These coral-covered relics, if they are what we hope, are not mere artifacts to be displayed, but sacred echoes of a promise kept, a testament to a God who hears the cries of the oppressed and moves mountains or seas to answer them. This is not the end of the story, but a beginning, a call to look anew at the scriptures, to explore with courage, to question with humility, and to believe with joy. What other truths lie waiting beneath the sands, the seas, the mountains of this world? What other miracles, dismissed as myth, might yet be found? The burning bush, the fire on Mount Carmel, the stone that felled a giant,